Action.
All the action's right here, baby.
Not too much action.
Oh, well, we're not filming.
Yeah, we are.
What? Well, in that case, hi, welcome to Cooking with SonicBlu. I'm SonicBlu Darkfold, and with us today is a brand new chef to the kitchen of SonicBlu. Let's say hello to Art, who is going to be preparing us what?
Hi.
Chicken dish involving asparagus and Brussels sprouts, butter, I see onion, and balsamic vinegar. Now, how are you going to put all of this together into one delicious meal?
I am going to start off by basically making a bed with the asparagus and surrounding the chicken with a mix of onions and seasoned Brussels sprouts that you can find at Kroger's, or well, probably maybe other stores that you guys may shop at, for
This is a very firm bed.
about $2.99. You can use a lot of different vegetables. I like Brussels sprouts because they actually absorb a lot of the flavors of what they're with, and they become a very nice crisp but tender addition for this dish. So what I'm going to start off by doing is, yes, my hands are already washed.
Yes, they are.
Is by taking.
He's going to make his bed.
Is by taking the.
Are you going to lay in your bed?
He's going to make his bed, now he's going to light the chicken.
First, I'm going to grab a knife.
Oh, he's got a knife! He's got a knife! He's got a knife!
He has a knife.
Crap.
Here's Halligan.
There's Halligan. Hi, Buggy.
Again, just waiting for a piece of something to drop, which it did.
Not supposed to be in here right now.
What I'm going to go ahead and do is chop the ends off the asparagus, because these ends tend to dry out when they are in the shells. So you cut off about the first couple of inches.
Give them a good trim.
Yum.
Just a little off the top. Or in this case,
Bottom.
Bottom.
Off the bottom.
You want it to look to where you can see the water inside the asparagus.
Ah, so they're very succulent.
Yes.
So they are very soft and succulent. And you grab them, and then you just kind of spread them out, lay them out. This actually is a lot smaller than the last batch I had, but that is okay.
This looks like a bed that was manufactured in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Almost resembles like bamboo.
Almost.
So now that you've made your bed, are you going to lie in it too?
No, but the chicken will.
Okay.
Oh, so it's a bed for the chicken. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll make for a delicious bed.
Yes.
Now, I, for one, don't like asparagus. And I'm not too keen on Brussels sprouts, but trying this dish here, I actually got keen on Brussels sprouts. I don't mind asparagus now.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I am not really a big fan of asparagus, but the last time we had this was actually pretty good. I cleaned my plate.
Yeah, I saw it. I cleaned mine. I even ate a piece of the dry end of it, too. There was a bit of a dry end on one of the stalks of asparagus.
Yeah.
I actually ate that, too, because I wanted more balsamic flavor.
You like balsamic, don't
I
you?
love balsamic flavoring.
What you do is you take the open Brussels sprouts. They are usually seasoned with sea salt and pepper, or sometimes they're just pepper, and usually it appears they've got it mixed in with cubes of garlic.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Which actually will add a little more personality to this dish.
So those are preferred to get them like that.
Preferred, yes. Yeah, you can use regular Brussels sprouts, but I don't like doing it that way.
But though you can, if you can't find these, then you can actually take actual Brussels sprouts, chop them in half just like this, and then just add some cloves of garlic. Just chop it up nice big pieces there, and just toss it in there.
There's probably a lot of people that would probably take this recipe and probably add like different types of spices.
Oh, sure. Possibilities are endless when it comes to spices.
And you just kind of take your hand and just kind of spread it around. You don't want it to be too concentrated on one side, because what we're also wanting to do is make this nice and level for absorbing the flavors of what we are going to actually place on top of it, over it, and around it.
Oh, sounds good. Now you've set down a aluminum foil bedding, so to speak, a little frame of aluminum foil. There are 3 sheets of aluminum foil made into like a bowl like this. You bring up the edges, and there you go. And it's
This is to allow you to immerse your chicken and your vegetables in the vinegar. Because a lot of people, sometimes the trays that you can buy, I mean this is a deep tray, but there are a lot of trays, the cheap trays that get sold, that are really, really thin and will tend to overflow with what you put in it. So if you actually make yourself a bowl, it allows you to, it catches all the juices and doesn't allow them to drip. And what we do is
get rid of all those. You definitely don't want that in your food. Although Halligan begs to differ.
Although what my mom likes to do, I don't like to do it because I honestly hate the ends, but what my mom likes to do is after she cuts off a lot of the ends of the stems, she puts them in a pot of water and boils them and makes a vegetable soup out of it.
That sounds pretty good.
And it's actually not bad if you actually re-prepare the asparagus stalks.
Halligan, do you like asparagus? What's asparagus?
And to finish this,
Let's give you a little sample then. Oh my gosh, he's actually tasting one.
Not anymore.
And he's not interested. That's his way of, what did you just give me? Yeah, so dogs and asparagus do not a good fellow make.
So what are you doing now?
I am chopping the onion
Ooh, alright.
to remove the first layer. I hate the first layer of the onion. It always has the nasty
Beetle.
crap, that they spray the onions with to protect it from the beetles.
Yeah, that too. Well, what's wrong with John, Paul, George, and Ringo? I think they were a fabulous group.
Yeah, but
Not
letting.
those kinds of beetles, son.
So I thought you were talking about these kinds of beetles.
Oh
No,
my
these
gosh,
are to
it's the
protect you from the
Beatles.
weevils.
Oh, the evil Beatles.
Yes.
Yes, we once was in a rock band and we were in a rock fight and we were going against the evil Beatles, but we won. We were very victorious.
What did you do to them?
Now the way I do
Assaulted them
this,
with my guitar.
the way I do a onion is I cut both ends off of it to make it into a will, and then I cut it into quarters so that it is nice, flavorful,
And thick.
and thick. And what I like to do is the first onion I do is I set an onion
Oh, and at each corner.
at each corner.
Ooh, nice.
This actually seals the flavor away. I've never been able to figure out how, but my mom swears by this. That when you're doing a onion tray, say a pot roast or anything, you put onions on the edge of the tray and it actually helps push the flavors back into the meat.
Nice.
Don't know if it's true, never have tested it, but
If a chef
if your mom says so, it must be true.
it must be true.
Yes.
That's right.
The second onion will be saved for the top of the chicken.
Ah, good.
Now, what we want to do,
Open up an entire stick of butter.
open up an entire stick of butter. Will we use the entire stick of butter? Probably not. But some people like to have a little more butter on their asparagus. Some
We
people
like butter.
don't.
It's always added to taste and, of course, quantity.
I like butter, especially on popcorn.
Popcorn butter.
You
is
take
good.
just a small
Especially
knife.
if the popcorn is free.
You take a small knife, you cut it into little pieces and just
About a
kind of.
tablespoon. About a tablespoon apiece. There's 2 tablespoons. It's about 2.5 maybe. Okay, there's a third. Or fourth.
And
Might as well put the last of it in there. There's not much left over.
Yeah, 8 tablespoons of butter, which is a full stick.
full stick.
Full stick, 8 tablespoons of butter.
That's a lot.
Now, with as much butter as you guys are actually seeing there, this is actually a lot healthier than it looks.
Yeah.
The oven is in preheat mode right now. Now, what I have learned is that when preparing chicken, thawing it out is actually a way to lose a lot of the oils, the fats, the flavors out of the chicken. Because when you thaw it, it ends up sitting in a pool of its own juices, and this is unsanitary. So, what I have learned over the years is that when preparing chicken in an oven, the best way to do your chicken is to actually do it completely frozen.
Completely frozen, wow.
Frozen.
not only is your meat not able to sit in its own juices, but you now have perfectly added water to the meat. And because of the fact that these are all flash frozen, the water actually is sealed in the meat. And by doing it this way, this keeps the water in the meat and allows the chicken to be a lot more tender.
Cool.
Mainly because of the fact of what we are going to use, it actually will dehydrate the meat, so adding the frozen aspect of it actually helps. Now what we are going to do is to take...
You want to take that whole bag of chicken, or just some of them?
Oh, some of them. I don't think I'm going to use the whole bag. Although I do intend on feeding people with more than what I did the last time. So
yes, because the last time I needed more.
And what I'm doing is basically layering the chicken in such a way that they are kind of angled and they kind of interconnect like this. See, boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Even about maybe a quarter of an inch apart.
Yep. And then
Now, what if they're touchy?
It really doesn't matter if they touch. I like it mainly for the presentation of the dish. It doesn't look horrible, I guess you could say. Now,
chicken in place. There's one breast left.
Is there?
Oh, two. There's another one there.
Yep, there's one more small one in there.
might as well go ahead and use it.
Might as well. That's a very good idea. When you trash the bag, you no longer need it. Do not put it in baby's cribs either. Salmonella poisoning.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
No.
Now we have the chicken in place. You want to kind of press it down just a bit to kind of get it settled in. Have it make contact with the vegetables.
Contact. We have contact with the vegetables. Over.
Then I'm going to take this onion.
Oh, Pawpets, we have a problem.
No, we don't. We have a hunger problem.
Sure,
We do.
We have a hunger problem.
We have a hunger problem. So we must strike forth with this problem with a hunger strike. Wait a minute, that would be a bad thing.
No, that would be a bad
That would
thing. It
be a
means
bad
you're not going to eat.
That means you refuse to eat and you're actually going on a diet of fasting.
Yeah, that's
And
not.
why do they call it a fast when it goes so slow?
I never did figure that out.
I don't either. I really don't know.
It has a lot of religious things about it.
Was it fast for them?
Yeah.
Was it as fast for them as it was for me?
That I don't know, because we're in a different time, we're in a different generation, and that was years and years and years ago.
Now, with this part of the onion, what I actually like to do is to actually take the onion and kind of
Separate them from layers and start distributing.
This also kind of makes a nice little scoop.
Oh yeah, you could deep fry those and actually make onion chips.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. You're better. Best way to go with this. Although if you
Actually, what my mom used to love to do is when she would bake them this way, she would put a bowl of ranch dressing, and you can take because these are actually quite nice and crisp, and dip them in and
just drip them straight in.
That's cool.
Although I like them deep fried though. Reminds me of onion rings.
Onion rings.
Onion rings. Now these are onion scoops. We might actually do that on a future episode of Cooking with SonicBlu. Onion scoops.
Ooh.
Or I could actually make a awesome blossom.
Awesome blossom.
Awesome blossom. Explain.
Basically, what an awesome blossom is I'm sure some of you have ate at a place called Outback Steakhouse, or you ate at Chili's.
Yes.
They're different names for the same
type of thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. It's basically where it looks like a flower bud, and it's a deep fried onion, but it is so delicious and so
I've never had a bloomin' onion.
Oh, they are so irresistible. We're gonna have to go to Outback Steakhouse just for a bloomin' onion.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Bloomin' onion. Oh, I love their sauce too. The dipping sauce for the bloomin' onions.
They have a special sauce just for dipping for the bloomin' onion, and it is out of this world.
Awesome.
You can go there and get a meal if you want to, but a lot of people come around for the bloomin' onion and just hang around and talk.
Just the onion?
Just the onion.
Wow.
Now,
aren't those like rather big too?
Oh, they use the giant onions.
The big onions that you won't be able to hold in one hand.
Wow.
Now, as far as seasonings, I'm sure you guys are wondering, What my family likes to use is we like to use a mixture of lemon pepper and ground sage.
Nice.
Ooh.
But
Sage
you
is
use like
always
a different mix of other spices that might tickle your fancy. Like
yes, you
paprika,
can use.
stuff like that.
I like lemon pepper because it actually not only peppers the meat, but it actually adds seals in more of the flavor because the citric acid. It seals more of the flavor of the meat into actually the Brussels sprouts and the asparagus, so you get a much more flavorful vegetable.
Plus, it gives a little nice tang to it for the lemon.
True.
So what you start off with is you just kind of.
Ooh, ground sage.
Ooh.
You can never make this meal too green. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of green in this meal. It's perfect for St. Patty's Day as well.
Now,
Yes.
different types of vinegars you can use different types of vinegars. I prefer vinegars. Vinegars.
Vinegar.
I'm kind of.
I love vinegar.
My tongue just got dyslexic.
Vinegar. Vinegar. Yeah.
I prefer to use balsamic because I love the flavor of balsamic vinegar. It's very strong but soft flavor.
Yes. You get a taste of Italy in every bite.
So what I do is I basically
Pour it over just right along the way there, zigzag in motion.
Now you're gonna use the whole bottle?
that actually is half the bottle for right now, and then actually the rest of the bottle gets added about 40 minutes into the actual preparation of the dish to basically seal in the oils that have escaped off the chicken.
And return some of the flavor that might have been cooked out.
Yep.
I knew it! Yay! I knew the answer!
You didn't buzz in, so you failed.
We don't have a buzzer.
Yeah, I know.
It's upstairs.
Where's our quizzer?
Yeah, they're upstairs. We do have buzzers, they're just upstairs.
Yeah.
It's quizzard!
Now you only use about half the bottle for this, so you get a nice dark color on the meat.
That does look very good.
Elegant.
Elegant.
Move for me, buddy.
Need to move now.
Move.
Elegant, out of the kitchen. Thank you.
Ooh. And nobody can say I don't slave over a hot stove sometimes.
That's right. Well, look how the onion just uses it as a scoop
I see that.
to catch a lot of the
Awesome.
balsamic in there. And that, you know, it can be just slowly distributed through your food as it's baking.
Yep.
That's the beauty
This
part
will
of that
actually
working
get to
scoops.
boiling and spattering.
And it'll slowly run out into the rest of your meals, and we'll get to, you won't lose a lot of that flavor too soon.
Now, how long do we
What
cook this for?
What I like to do is I like to mix this. I keep it on broil.
Broil.
I broil for the first 30 minutes, and then I put it to bake for 350 degrees. Basically a low heat after it has been exposed to high heat to actually seal in the juices and make the meat starve for the flavors of everything under it.
And there is a lot of sealing that goes on in this meal, because when you taste it, you'll taste all those flavors that you just put on the top of there. They'll be on the inside of everything you take a bite out of.
That is
I was
awesome.
amazed, and that's
I
why.
cook this for basically 45 minutes to an hour, and then after it has been allowed to cook, I turn the oven off and I let it set for another 20 minutes in the heat so that it slowly dissipates, because with all of this, the pan will be extremely hot and
heavy.
and heavy, and you don't want to be having that kind of metal contact with your skin even through
An oven mitt.
because it will actually press against your skin and it will burn. So
Yeah, so definitely be careful what you do in the kitchen, because it can come back and bite you.
but that is my balsamic vinaigrette chicken. It is a recipe that my family came up with that they used to sell at their restaurant down in Albuquerque. It's pretty well known down in New Mexico, so
the next time you go down to New Mexico,
if any of y'all are in Los Lunas, New Mexico, please stop by Henrietta's and you guys can actually try some of my family's awesome cooking, including our famous adobe pie.
you'll have to show us how to make that sometime.
Yes.
Yep, I will have to do that one of these
It's
days.
too bad you don't have the stuff now. It would be a great dessert.
Oh God, I'd have this kitchen messy though.
That's kind of easy to do when you got a small kitchen. Well, what I was going to say here is that, there is a lot of sealing flavors going on here, mainly because when you take that first bite, especially of the asparagus, think of it as a natural sponge absorbing all that flavor and locking it in, so that when you first bite and your last bite will be the same through and through, and it'll be nice and tangy and zangy and really flavorful for your mouth to every bite.
The last part of the vinegar gets added about 40 minutes into the meal. Basically, I like to do it when I'm switching from broil to bake. But you can do it really however suits your fancy.
Sounds good. Well, if it's as good as you say it is, and I know it is good because I've tried it, but you might want to try that technique at home as well, so that way you get the same effect in your meals as we're getting here tonight.
Dealing with the frozen chicken, viewers, you got to beware that dealing with the frozen chicken, it's actually a lot harder to cook. One of those pieces of chicken, usually the thick pieces close towards the edge, I actually use as a monitor. What I like to do is I like to take a fork and pull it out and a knife and cut the center open and basically take a look at the inside. The way my parents taught me is that for every centimeter of pink that you still see, it's 10 to 15 minutes depending on your elevation.
Wow.
So when you cut that chicken in, you think about how many centimeters that it could possibly be. If it looks to be an inch, then you think about 45 minutes. Because once the meat gets to a certain temperature, it starts to cook really quickly. And you can't always use this piece of meat as a thermometer. It will never replace a real temperature thermometer that you could use that you'd stick in the meat to test the temperature, but it still works. It's always worked for me. I've never once had an issue with this dish with making pink chicken. So, but you might have issues with this at first.
So kind of gauge the size of your chicken, the thickness of your chicken, and the time it takes for you to cook all the chicken, and of course your elevation and your power of the oven. All of that combined together will give you a rough estimate of what you should cook your chicken.
But this meal takes about an hour and a half tops.
Yeah.
To make.
Now, what would happen if you were to overcook a chicken by accident? Like if this meal got overcooked by accident, what would be the result of that?
The meat would still be tender. The outside of the meat would be kind of baked, but it would still be tender on account of the fact that I used lemon pepper and vinegar, which naturally seals in moisture. If any of you know about desert survival or anything, vinegar or citric acid is a natural water retainer. So it will actually keep the water in your meat. It'll still be tender. You will never really get truly dry meat out of this.
That's a good thing. So it's best.
And if you leave it in too long, it will not dry out. It will just burn. So if it is not burnt, you will still have tender meat.
But if it looks like it's getting burned, then you might want to pull that out as soon as possible. Little rule of thumb here in the kitchen of SonicBlu, Dark folks. Well, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to let this cook for a while, then we're going to come back in a lot of time, and then we're going to check out our results, and we're going to show you a lovely presentation of what would you call this meal?
I call it my balsamic vinaigrette.
Balsamic vinaigrette. Now, it's not just a salad dressing. This is an actual dish called balsamic vinaigrette.
Well, it's balsamic vinaigrette chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah.
There you go. Balsamic vinaigrette chicken. That sounds less like a salad dressing and more like a meal. But balsamic vinaigrette chicken. And we'll be seeing the results of that in just a few moments. So I leave you with this quick and easy film magic. And voila! Enough time has gone by to where we can now pull the thing out of the oven and see how far along we are. So, let us do so. That looks divine. Wow. Balsamic vinaigrette chicken. Ready for the serving.
Well, not necessarily just ready for the serving.
No? You mean there's more?
There's more.
There's more.
Oh yes, making sure that the thickest of the chicken is not pink. And if it is, it's gotta go back.
I love that skin.
Oh yes.
Listen to that. And then look how tender.
Oh, I know.
Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna slice this little guy open. And look at that.
It is perfectly white.
It's white all the way through.
Perfectly white. Look at the shine of that moisture inside. Not dry at all, even though for the last 30 minutes it has been in broil.
That's right.
That looks awesome.
So,
What's the next step?
the next step is to plate it.
Really?
To serve it and eat it?
To serve it and eat it.
What, did you say something? Did you say something about putting more balsamic on it?
I might do that and give it about 15 more minutes. But yeah, look at that.
Oh yeah.
So this is why we do it this way. You got all the fat from the chicken and the juices. It's all sitting there. You got these little pieces of asparagus, and you just look at how
Tender that is.
tender and succulent that came out.
Wow.
Serve it up.
We could always put balsamic over the top of them when we serve them, right?
Yep. You can always serve it with a little extra balsamic.
I'll probably be doing that.
I might give it a shot.
Alright, so I'm going to serve up the first plate and we will do the taste test.
First, with the chicken. It's very crispy on the top, it's very tender on the bottom, and it melts together to one tremendous flavor.
Yes. Your mouth is full.
Brussels sprout. I think he said Brussels sprout, folks.
Well, very tender. And very delicious too.
You want me to do the dialogue for you there?
Will translate what I cannot say, because this is some good stuff.
Basically, he's saying it's so fantastic he can't talk.
I'm going to try asparagus.
Asparagus. He's going to try the asparagus.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No.
I'm glad.
This
You are bad.
is
So
great.
bad.
The asparagus is the best part, actually, because this is where all of that delicious balsamic flavoring goes right into the asparagus and gets absorbed in the succulent meat of your vegetable. You know what?
Just eat it.
Great balsamic flavor, it's in there.
Awesome.
That was the Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts were very, very good. Not too crispy, not too soggy.
For somebody who doesn't like Brussels sprouts.
No, I wasn't too keen on them. I didn't say I didn't like them.
Ah, that's right.
I'm the
I
one
just
that
didn't like
doesn't like them.
asparagus. I didn't like asparagus, but cooked in this method, came out beautiful. I don't mind eating asparagus now. This meal is wonderful, and if you don't believe us, try it for yourself, and then you too will see how delicious this can be. So tune in to SonicBlu Darkfold's Cooking with SonicBlu, and I'll see you from behind the stage. Without the knife, of course.
Till next time.
I'm kidding.
What are you doing?